So it's 1607 and England decides to colonize a great portion of land on the newfound continent that's being called North America. They start sending people over there to live and prosper and shit. So 157 years fly by casually, and then the King of England decides he wanted money because England was poor as fuck. So the king makes the people that live in the colonies, being titled Americans, pay a tax for getting any piece of paper with a stamp on it, which was very common for every single piece of paper. Naturally, no one in the colonies likes giving the king their money for no fucking reason, so they get pissed off. Because they get pissed off, they start fucking over British businesses in response to the king. So because British businesses were being fucked over, the king shit his pants and decided to repeal the Stamp Act. Then, as sort of like a punishment, he makes the Americans pay for a bunch of other dumb taxes that make zero fucking sense. The Americans got pissed again and fucked over British businesses once again. The king was pissed, so he decided to repeal all the new taxes except for the one on tea. And in response, he sent a bunch of troops, around 1,000, to Boston. Then, for no fucking reason, the troops decided to massacre a group of Bostonians, so naturally, the Bostonians decided to throw all of the British's tea in the water as a major fuck you to the king. A bunch of Americans gathered to fuck over the British until someone shot a bullet that everyone in the world heard somehow. The war had begun and Americans were naturally kicking the British's teeth in. The king, in a new pair of pants, shit his pants and sent a bunch of more troops to America to fuck over the Americans. The war went back and forth, but Commander-in-Chief George Washington decided he was too badass to lose the war and decided to win the war instead. After kicking the shit out of the British, the Americans sent a letter to the king, asking him to repeal the taxes and remove the troops and to hopefully reignite their friendship. But the king was furious and decided to double his efforts on winning the war. The Americans, at that very point, decided, we don't want to be colonies anymore. We want to be our own country. So they declared their own independence in 1776. Then, the king decided to kick our ass for a while, so he went and begged France for help. The king of France decided to train the Americans to be complete ass blasters, which worked out impeccably. So after ass blasting all the English soldiers, the Chad Americans were ready to be their own country. England was losing a shit ton of money in the war, and it wasn't worth it as they were already dirt poor, so they were fighting a war for no reason. Peace negotiations happened in France, and the Americans agreed to help pay for debts if England just let them govern themselves. The ass-blasted king whimpered like a baby bitch, but agreed. The ultimate Chad, George Washington, decided he was too based to be king and that being a president was much cooler. George Washington became the first president of the United States, and the rest is history.